We are live.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our continuing coverage of International Tabletop Day from Labyrinth Games and Puzzles here in DC. We've got Jim Moran with us. Jakub's getting the little title card updated there. He is with Play Smart Dice. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, but mostly their new game, Election Night. This is on, you said it's on Kickstarter right now?
It is. It's live on Kickstarter. We've got about 3 weeks to go.
Okay.
We're over 60% funded, so yeah, we're really happy with our progress, and we trying to drum up some support for our final kick.
Well, that's really awesome. So, Election Night, like several of your other games, is sort of a math teaching game.
Yep.
I see there's a multiplication version, there's an addition version.
Right.
There's both come in the same box, yeah?
Right. Yes, they do.
Educational games, what sort of prompted you to get into that space?
So a long time ago, I had started kind of tutoring high school students in my spare time. I mostly did ACT, SAT tutoring. Where I kind of really, and I've always been a gamer, but what I really started noticing is that a lot of kids, otherwise really smart kids, were not really math fact fluent. They didn't know their times tables. They didn't know their flash recognition of addition, and it really was a challenge for some of these students taking standardized time tests when they're counting on their fingers, making kind of stupid errors. So I had two daughters. They're both 9 and 6 now.
Sure.
And I thought, why don't I just take some time to develop some games that we could play that taught this stuff in a better way, and would be there for them, throughout their life. So that's when I created my first Play Smart Dice base pack, which was we kickstarted this a couple of years ago. Did well.
Yeah.
It's non-ordinal dice. Patents are pretty rare in the gaming space, as probably everyone knows. But we talked to a few intellectual property owners. They say, owner lawyers, and they said, you probably have some intellectual rights here because we have so we've got a patent pending. The results these dice produce, because of the way they're numbered, are specifically targeting harder to learn sums and products. The numbers associated with those. So we do away with 1s and 2s. We de-emphasize 5s, sometimes 9s and 3s, and we really create games with combinations of the dice that focus kids on the harder to learn sums and products, create winning, compelling gameplay for them to do that. And so we get a lot of games in the dice pack. This is on sale where we are right now at Labyrinth. You can pick these up, take them to restaurants. We can get into other stuff you can do with them, but they power Election Night.
Sure. Okay. So they're kind of at the heart of this.
Yeah, they're at the heart of that. And we wanted to create a flagship game that not only taught math fluency, but other stuff kids should know, like U.S. geography and civics. The civics of the Electoral College.
It's really fantastic. So you said, this was your first game, or the first, thing that you put on Kickstarter, these Play Smart Dice. Do you have a game design background, or is it something that you were passionate about but hadn't done professionally and just wanted to jump into? Or?
Yeah, I was just passionate about it, and that was my first jump into a gamer for life, but I had never designed a game.
Sure.
So, but I was always tweaking game rules,
Right, yeah, coming up with homebrew stuff.
Yeah, always homebrewing. So that was something, from the beginning. And then, I had a vision when I created the dice to do other stuff. I created RPG conversion tables, I did stuff, but we really wanted to, Dom Krapashudis from North Star, actually, they're here today too. He said, if you really want a game company, you got to have a flagship game.
It's true, yeah.
And, so that's, got me really into creating a board game. And of the ideas we had, the Election Night seemed to garner the most interest.
Sure. Attention.
Yeah, it grabbed attention. The upcoming election. It's not a politics game. It's more of a civics game. But for other probably obvious reasons, there's a lot of attention on this space right now. So kids are really into it too. We on our Kickstarter video, I had written up a big script of how we were going to talk about Election Night, what it did, how and then I hired a video guy that filmed one of our neighborhood game nights over in Arlington, Virginia, and the kids were just so, fabulously excited with the game that he's like, throw your script away. We're just going to show the kids. We'll do some voiceovers with you and your family.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's really great video. So it turned out great.
That's really fantastic, right? Because then if the kids are super excited about it, that's what it's for.
Yeah,
right? So there's no better endorsement.
Right.
That the kids love it and can't stop talking about it.
That's right.
So this is your newest game, but you also have a couple others. You mentioned the RPG conversion.
Yes,
You're sort of in that space.
That was something that we threw into our first campaign because, I was passionate about dice since I was a young RPGer, D&D. I've always loved dice games. So I thought it would be cool to create something that taught math, but maybe took like a look at the D20 and did conversion tables that, you could basically do math operations with the same relative probability of to hit on D20. And we have critical hits, critical misses on this. We have relative probabilities that give the player slight advantages to roll their 20. Like, you can get anywhere from a 3% bonus to a 2% bonus.
Sure.
Sometimes it's not a bonus. But I don't know, it's an easy way to get kids to do flashcard type math while they're rolling dice, and they're focusing on all right, roll a 14 right now, roll a 14 sum with these two dice, and they're not really thinking about it, and then they're like, great, I'm gonna roll.
Because then it's like, I'm not trying to pass this test, I'm trying to kill this monster.
That's right, exactly, so it's worked well. And you can see we played with a guy, one of my colleagues and friends, Andy Howell. He was DMing one night. We put a little with my daughter and his sons, we did a game night where we show us using these tables. You can see that on our first campaign, Play Smart Dice. So, but this had some popularity, but we can, we still have this on our website if people want it.
Sure, yeah. That's awesome. So, one final question, then we'll jump into some of this the election night demoing. So educational games, great opportunity to teach kids about math, teach them about other subjects as well. Are you looking to get placed in classrooms? Like, would you see that as a model, or are you thinking more of like a home learning environment?
Yeah, so I think both. We'll see where it goes, but we're generating a lot of interest in classrooms now. I've been to some of the area schools. Teachers want it. We have wall boards. We're going to have white erase boards. This is a really good team concept game because there's a lot of strategy involved with it. It's almost being like in a campaign war room. What state are we going to target with these numbers? And we just lost California. Like, Texas is important now. So it can play out over a semester in a classroom, or it can play out over 45 minutes in your family game night.
Sure.
My daughter personally, when I was developing this, learned her times tables after playing the multiplication version 3 times. We focus on the harder to learn products.
Right.
6 times 8 is California, 7 times 8 is Texas. You got to, and you can see on our Kickstarter page exactly. We chose the most valuable electoral. We linked them. We engineered them.
Well, that's exciting.
So.
All right. Well, so why don't you? I know you've got a demo board here. Why don't we hop into this and see how it goes, Jacob? If you want to switch over to the table cam.
So this is these will be our dice that we use. This is the base pack dice, Play Smart Dice.
Okay.
We'll play the. I'll show you how the addition game works first.
Sure.
And so here you can see that we've got odd and even numbers associated with state groups. It's a dice pool game, which has the added benefit of having players. Oh, we got some marks from a previous game. They were testing this. So you roll a dice pool, and then the obvious benefit of a dice pool is that you can have players use different combinations of the numbers. So you could use an 8 and a 5, or a 5 and a 4, or 4 and an 8, and a 5 and a 5, and you can do all of the different combinations there. When you finally pick your 2 sums that you're going to target, let's say I'll take a 12 here because 12 is the California group I know in the addition game, and then I want to take 5 and 5, which is going to be 10, and then so that's going to be the Illinois group. Generally the game starts out, people start, they have high hopes of getting the high electoral votes. So for this one I would take like 12 and 10. So now I'm going to get a slice of California. Okay. And then I got a 10, and then I'm going to get a slice of Illinois. Now,
what just happened here is I did a bunch of sum calculations, but I also had to physically mark a map.
Okay.
And you're indexed by color. So that's teaching geography in a kinesthetic, tactile way.
Yeah.
And we got some geometric, odd-shaped polygons on here. We got nonagons for Texas and California. You got to get the majority of the area of the polygon. So there's a little like geometry literacy here, kind of area of polygon stuff. And the sums go pretty fast. So then you would roll.
Okay.
And then you're going to be red here. I hope that doesn't.
I can roll with it.
Yeah,
so
the kids really don't understand this red blue thing. That's the only shade holiday. They don't really focus on it.
All right, so I have a feeling I'm going to get sharked here because I don't know what these groups are. But let's see. All right, I know. All right, here we go. Texas is important. Can I get to 13? Yes, I can. All right, I've got a 9 and a 4, which leaves a 7 and a 3. So for my 9 and a 4, I'm going to take a slice of Texas here. Got a bunch of votes there. And for my 10, Illinois would be great, but I don't really want to compete, so let's go for Tennessee.
Yeah. And you kind of find when this game starts, some people start going for the quick victories. Kind of like in real elections, they want to pick up lockdown, easy states because the dot states here you can get in one roll. And if you can get like 9 electoral votes in one roll, you should take it. So 6 and 5. I got an 11 there. I got a 9 there. I cannot create a 12. I can create 2 10s though. This is another thing you find out in this game. If you can create 2 sums, a 6 and a 4 and a 5 and a 5, that's 2 sums. I take Illinois right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, a strategy the kids start learning. All right, you can really pour. It's like pouring a lot of resources in the state. I get Illinois. So now we're going to start seeing how this tally works. 20 points. I color the star in so we don't target it later, and we just go 5, 10, 15, 20.
Okay.
And we're on our way.
Well, this is good too because it really teaches you sort of valuation, right? It's not just working strictly with numbers and addition. It's okay. What can I use a combination of to get something that I want, something that I need?
Utility value.
Yeah.
It's like how much per roll, and the kids really, which actually teaches division. Right?
Yeah.
Because
in
they understand utility value, like how many votes can I get per roll? They're already doing, division for some of the, so
Jacob, you want to roll?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. What do you got?
Ooh, I got some high numbers.
18.
Now you'll notice that there is no 18.
Oh, there is no. I just saw that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's no 18 because like double numbers, kids have an easy time learning.
Sure.
They learn their doubles quick, so I take 18 off of there. I don't want to. I take numbers with 6 and below, sums off because those are easy to learn sums too. So,
Right.
So that means pretty much I have to do it this way. So let's see, 9 and 6. So what do we got?
15. We got Pennsylvania over
Pennsylvania,
here.
good state.
Let's go for.
You're also going to get into the
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, and then you're also in the California mix now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's good.
Let's compete for California.
So now what this starts doing, at different stages of the game, now I am really focused on 12s now, right?
Yeah.
My 12 radar just went up. I'm going to look at all these sums to see where I can create 12s. And look, there I did. I created one 12, right? A 12 and a 9. So I don't really care about that 9, but I am laser locked on that 12 because California is a big price. Yeah, but then it happens with the mid-Atlantic states. Then it happens with the Midwest states. You start locking in, trying to predict and target combinations. And when you're at that with a kid, those sums are learned.
Yeah.
They're just learned, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's 12 and a 9. And then, then I'm going to go Michigan. Michigan's good, right? And the thing is, it's, you think, well, it de-emphasizes some of the lesser value states, but you got to get to 270.
Right.
So you follow electoral politics, you understand, you got to play the long game here.
Yeah, we can alternate. I'll roll this time. All right. So, okay, I'm also going to go for that 12. It's just a race now. That's all it is.
12 and an 11.
12 and an 11. Okay, so 12 is going to be California for sure. And that 11 is definitely in New York.
See, I shouldn't have told you that, right?
It's true, yeah. I'm playing with a handicap here. That's what it is.
Okay. Now I roll, so...
You also got a 12.
Yeah, right. So the thing is, but, right here, I could take a 9, and that's also my Michigan. This
Yeah,
is
there
the
you go.
same
You
result
lock
of
up on
Aries.
Michigan.
So, I just took Michigan for 16. 5, 10, 15, 16. This is a very common chord. This tallying with the 5s that are set up like that. Math teachers love this.
Oh
Right,
yeah,
so
that's
because
you can group
makes
them,
it's a base 10 system.
Yeah.
It's like really good. So it's a really good score board. And then they love the shapes too. And then I got the 12. So now 12. So this California's heating up. So
all right. So do you find? I noticed there's different polygons. You've got just the circles and the triangles.
Right.
So what's the cutoff for each? Like, is it anything that's 10 or above is a triangle instead of a
so
circle?
basically it's like under 10 is going to be like one roll. Ooh, you're good. Yeah.
Double 12s.
And then the triangle states. You got to get only 2 of them. They're like in the mid-teens. For electoral votes, like Georgia 16 would be a triangle state.
Right.
And then when you get to the Pentagon states, like Pennsylvania and Ohio, you're like in the 20 electoral votes or high teens. And then the 2 nonagon states, which are Texas and California.
Of course. The
And
big
we'll
ones.
see. This will probably take us 35, 40 minutes to play, but we could probably shift over now to the multiplication game if you
Sure,
want.
yeah. I think that sounds great.
Then you'll see how we do it with a multiplication game. So now, on this prototype, this multiplication game was kind of geared toward people who had played the game. The high value states, we ordered them, but because you guys are playing for the first time, we're going to play with this game board, which actually is easier for indexing because the low numbers start here and it goes around. After players play a couple times, we'll probably release a special edition, like multiplication version. The first one will be addition and multiplication, but people start going to those hot zones, 48, 56. They want the hot zones up there. They don't care ordinally.
Sure. Okay.
So
interesting, and that's an interesting consideration too.
But when you want to play for the first time, we've got this order so that you go high to low. And now, what I'm going to show you here, these look a little. Sorry about this, but. We use the base pack of our dice, but our original pattern, we have the mean 11 die set, which is 3 through 8, the mean 13 die set, which is 4 through 9, allows us to do different things. We're also going to produce a multi-die set. We haven't put it on our Kickstarter campaign, so you heard it here first. It's part of our patent. What we do there is we turn the 5s on the mean 11 into 9s.
Interesting.
And that happens when kids start learning their 5s. They learn their 5s in multiplications, like when they learn their 2s and 1s in addition. So then we use the multi-dice. This creates more 9 combinations and decreases 5 combinations, which we want to do in the multiplication game.
Sure. Okay.
So we're going to produce that die. It's going to cost us a few $1,000s. It's going to be in that pack. You heard it here first. But please excuse the, if you see that, you'll see if you watch our Kickstarter video. Some of the advanced players at our game night, you can see some sketchy looking 9s on there. I was like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, somebody's palming a die.
That's right. You're like, hey, that kid's cheating. You probably use one of these dry arrays. So anyway, so right here, the key about the multiplication game is because we're obviously dealing with kids that have more advanced skills, we get into more probability and utility value by using a freeze and re-rolls. So on any roll, you can freeze after the first roll all the dice, or you can re-roll any number of dice.
Okay, interesting.
Now what you learn pretty quickly is if you use a 5 product, there's only a couple 5 products on this board, and it's like Vermont, Wyoming, and North Dakota. When you get those numbers 40, 45, you don't want those numbers anymore. And 35, South Dakota. Sorry, not North Dakota, South Dakota. So I already know that. I'll give you the benefit of that knowledge.
All right.
Some people look and they see right away that. So you're going to obviously re-roll 5s. I'll just re-roll my 3, 4, and 5. It's at the beginning. I got a 3, 6, 7. Now these are good. So now what we learn right here is that 6 times 7 is going to be worth probably a good amount. It's going to be 42. So we find 42 here. That's Illinois.
All right.
So I'm going to take that. And then 3 times 6 is 18. So, that's going to be District of Columbia. That's off
And
the
then
game
bam,
now.
so
That's off. So like no more will 18 be valued. So you're gonna probably re-roll like all your threes.
Threes,
are
right.
not. There's only 2 threes on this whole dice, so it doesn't come up that often. But come out of the gate, I take DC right away, and then I'm gonna get a slice of Illinois.
Okay.
And so there you go.
Okay. Let's start off here. Okay, so I don't got any 5s, but we do. All right,
Yeah.
so I've got that 3.
Yeah.
I could pair it with this 4 to pick up Delaware, and the 36 would get me Washington. That's a little low. All right, I think I'm going to keep the 6s. I'm going to re-roll the 3 and the 4.
There we go.
I got a 4 and a 4. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, whatever.
Now remember what we were saying before. The whole's true. If you get a 4 and a 4 and a 6 and a 6, what could you do with that?
True. So what does double 24 get me? That gets me all of New Jersey. All
You
right.
could you just take New Jersey, just pile into New Jersey.
I can do that.
There we go.
Yeah.
TJ will be happy about that. Friend of ours.
Yep.
All right, so then I got 5, 10, 14.
That's an early lead.
All right, there we go.
Alrighty.
All right, very good. So I'm going here. I'm going to keep my sketchy looking 9 here. that 9 looks better. This 9, I know I'm going to keep that 6. I'm going to take my so the most electoral votes in this game are associated with 8, followed by 7, followed by 6, followed by 9, and then followed by 4, 3, and 5. 5 only has like 9 electoral votes. 8 factors have like almost 300. Yeah, so like
So 7's the ones
Yeah.
that are difficult to learn. You don't really have a lot of
Absolutely.
mnemonics for those.
If you look at our Kickstarter campaign, we actually have a heat map that they did with the Guardian app
Oh,
that
that's
the
awesome.
kid tested the kids. 6 times 8 is apparently the hardest to learn, closely followed by 7 times 8.
Interesting.
Followed by so we took those values that kids get the most wrong, and we made them the most valuable in this game.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you can see the chart we put on our campaign, and then followed by the bar. There's a heat map of the multiplication tables, followed by the bar graph of how we did it. So,
really
and like I
cool.
said, 3 times my daughter played this. Pretty much,
She's got it down.
She got it.
Yeah.
She got it.
Well, this is
And-
really cool
yeah.
because I'm a person who loves data and loves those sorts of visualizations. So
Yeah.
the fact that you can incorporate, not just probability and all these elements that you want to teach, but data about what's important to teach.
That's right.
That's
That's
really
right.
just very
That's
fascinating.
right, right. And when you establish, winning combinations are pretty trivial. Like dice were created by gamblers, most likely, or gamers, and they just wanted a probability tool.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to. We like the probability aspect of it because that's the gamer aspect of it. But we just re-engineered it to, pack more learning into it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
So here we go. We're California. I got 6 and an 8 here, like the hardest one that they say. It wasn't me. 6 times 8. I remember it rhymes. 6 times 8, 48. But before the population, it's pretty tough. So I'm gonna take 9 times 9, 81. Is only 3 points. 9 times 9 is an easy product, it turns out, for kids to learn. So, I'll take North Dakota for 3. I'm playing a small game here, but it also means that I can use my 6 times 8 towards California.
Yep.
So, very good. I picked up 2 small states, still not caught up to you with New Jersey.
Jacob,
but
you want to get in on this?
Jacob?
Sure, let's go for it.
Do some multiplication. Put those finance skills to work.
Yeah. All right, we got a
6,
6, 7, and a 6, and a 4. So we've already got the 24. Oops, I did that. Alrighty. Let's see. We could go for Illinois. All right, I think I'm going to re-roll this.
Good choice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are we gonna be competing for California again?
Yeah, I
Is that
mean
what's gonna happen?
that's your 6 times 8 is your California.
Yeah,
So,
and then 6 times 7,
Yeah.
we can go for Illinois. Why don't you go
Okay,
in
all
one
right. So we
California?
got one Illinois. We said this pair, this pair.
Yeah, this pair and this pair.
Okay, so 42 gets us 1 sliver of Illinois, and 48 gets us 1 sliver of California. All right.
All right, nice. I'm keeping my 6, my 8, and my 9. I'm gonna re-roll the 4. I got 9 times 9. Ah! Now this is the problem. So but this is right. Should I take the 9 times 8? Get a 72, and a 6 times 9. That's gonna be good. But I could start winning the fight for California.
Right.
Away, a kid is really going to have to make utility decisions.
Absolutely.
Like,
so what happens in this scenario if you were to take the 6 and the 8?
I get nothing for the 9 times 9. I get nothing. It's off the board. It's a dead roll.
Interesting.
And this early in the game to have a dead roll is
pretty rough.
pretty rough. But I'm going to do it because California is such a crown prize, right?
All right.
So anyway, there you go.
All right.
I don't know if I should have done that, but if I lose California, that's a wasted roll. You don't want to waste rolls in this game.
Okay, 7 and 9. I like that 7. Less fan of these 4s, but what do we got? Let's just check it out. 28, Michigan, and then 36. Well, again, Washington. 56. Ooh. We go Texas, but then 16. There's no 16. That's a dead roll. All right, I'm gonna re-roll these.
We're off the table.
All right, I think we're on a chair back here.
Yeah, we
Is it a
are.
red one?
Please excuse my reach. Okay. All right, I'll re-roll that. Okay, 7.
That's
oh,
good.
Uh-oh.
That's
Double.
me. Yeah, you are piling in.
Right? We got
Alrighty.
that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
So
that can't be right. It's 63.
no, 63. Yeah,
My math is wrong.
you're double on 63 though.
So I can take 2 slivers of
Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ohio's like, you can't win the White House without Ohio, they say.
Yeah.
Right? So
Swing states right there.
yeah. I mean, but it's one of those critical ones because it's got 18 electoral votes.
I just
so.
appreciate that everybody glossed over my my math that I did wrong there.
I was
Maybe I need this game.
9
Exactly.
times 7. Now, I could probably go battle you in California, but Ohio, but I'm gonna re-roll my 4s and see what I can get there. 6 and a 4. So, I'm gonna take. Let's see. Oh, that was a 4, right? So, I think. I'm confusing this with the last game, Illinois, but I already got Illinois, so I'm going to take an Illinois, and then I'm going to take a 36. So there's different combinations here that get you 36. I'm going to go Washington, and then I'm going to go Illinois because now I can get Illinois in one more. And I see that you have Ohio.
You gotta compete.
And no one's in Texas, so I'm not going to go for that right now. So go ahead.
Here we go. Bye. I keep getting these 4s, man. Although, okay, here we go. So
4s are not bad.
Yeah. All right,
Especially early in the game, 4s are not bad.
4 in this 8 will get me a slice of New York. And then this 4 and this 9, I'm just going to go ahead and snatch up Louisiana.
There you go.
All right, so that gets me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right.
So we got a couple components here. We've got the game board, obviously, the one underneath that folds up. We've got the dice. Do the markers come in the back?
Markers
the box
coming,
as
yeah.
well?
Markers coming. Not these markers. My prototype markers are all over the place. These are actually the blue's darker. And
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm like we've gotten a lot of miles out of these prototypes.
Sure. But basically, everything you need to play comes right in the box.
Yeah. And if you watch our video, that fun time that kids are having, they were like pretty brutal on the prototypes too. So I should, So I'm gonna keep my 6, 8, my 9, re-roll the 5, roll off the board, but I'm gonna take it. So I don't want to get a false advantage there. I'm gonna take California.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take my 45. That's going to be Wyoming, and 45 is off the board.
Okay.
So, the 5. So I'm going to get 3. I'm playing the small game here, and hopefully going to get some big returns in California.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
All right, Jacob.
Alrighty.
In on this.
All right. Okay. Got that. I'm gonna re-roll these 2.
All right. So you're in that, do you take the California and sacrifice a dead roll? There is a 40 on the board. You could pick up Vermont and you could take 24, but then, that's leaving that 6 times 8. That's leaving that California out there.
I'm going for the California.
All right. So
And, this is not that difficult. Like a kid can figure that out, what is actually best, right? So,
Or like at least the choices.
But it's always in the context of probability,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, there's the smart play, there's the risk play. I'm going to keep my 9s and my 6. I'm going to keep the 4. All right, so I got a 36 and I got a 54. So I'm going Pennsylvania, and then I'm going Washington. I just took Washington. Sweet.
There you go.
All right. So Washington, I'm going to take the 12 there. So 10. Very good. Yeah, these markers are not. They're not the
they've been
original
put through a
ones.
lot.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
All right, so let's see. So we're almost tied up now. You took Washington and sort of got back in the running. Okay, so like that's 7. I said no, now it's 3. Now I'm definitely rolling this. We got here. We got New Jersey. 28 get me.
You've already got New Jersey.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna reroll that 4 as well.
Take Alabama.
Okay, all right, here
Nine
we go.
votes for one roll is not bad.
Yeah.
You know, Alabama, the high single roll circle states.
Yeah,
Pretty
true,
good.
true.
Okay, so yeah, here we go. All right. 6 times 7, 42. I'm going to get a sliver of Illinois, make it a true contest. And then 4 times 7, I'm going to snatch up Colorado,
You're good.
which will get me 9. 1, 2,
The-
3, 8, 9.
The other thing that's really good about this game, it doesn't carry through with some of my other favorite games, but this is a really easy game to pause.
Yeah, because it's all
like,
tracks. just
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Keep it track.
Yeah, yeah.
You can like pause for dinner, or you can pick it up after dinner. That's not true with every game, right?
Right, yeah.
So,
and especially if, this type of game is geared towards families.
That's right. That's right.
Frequent
Schedules.
interruptions.
That's right. That's right. Okay, look at this. I got a 6 and a 9.
And a 6 and a 9.
6 and a 9.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Where is my 54?
That's
I
Pennsylvania.
just took
You just took it.
Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Nice.
man.
Keystone State.
Posed.
Damn.
All right, so that's going to be 20. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10, 14. Okay.
All right. Now you're past us. Couple of big swings,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
California's Texas still on the board.
Yep. All right, here we go. Now that actually is 56.
Yep.
So that'll be Texas. I'll get started
going
with some of
Texas.
that. And then 28, again, that's not too bad. So, all right.
You know, from a utility value perspective, Texas is not really good to target at the beginning.
Sure.
But it becomes a lot more, when California
Yeah.
goes.
Why don't you re-roll the 4?
You think I rerolled the 4? All right.
I mean, give us a chance to take Illinois at that point.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's
Sure.
good.
Good point. Good point. All right, here we go.
Now,
Come
you see
on.
how many different math calculations you
Yeah.
did? Yeah. So
Yeah.
All right, come on, 6s.
That's much funner than flashcards.
Yeah.
Hey!
There we go. Perfect.
All right.
Well, now you got a 49, right?
So, 6, 7 is the last slice of Illinois.
Yep.
That'll give us a nice 20 points there.
I'm just happy you didn't take the 6-8 for California.
Yeah.
Because-
I mean,
yeah.
you make judgment calls, right?
That's right.
Illinois is a tight
Illinois,
race.
burn the hands. Burn the hands.
All right, and there we go. Sliver of Texas, starting that battle.
All right, so, I got to re-roll one of these 9s. Now, this is interesting because, these dice only go down to 4. These dice go down to 3.
Sure, so there's
I'll
some-
probably roll the red one.
Makes sense.
And that stunk because I rolled a 5. So
Yeah.
that's your occasional dead roll. There's only 2
something's
5.
dead.
That's the other thing. The blue one would not have the 5, so maybe I should have re-rolled that.
Yeah.
I was
It's
missing
all-
3.
it's all
I was
balance.
But the
pushing
blue
my
ones
luck.
had a higher chance of having another 9.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
this makes it really interesting.
yeah.
So we were actually talking not too long ago about how cool it is to have dice that have different numbering systems.
Yeah, there's what was the game that we played recently that had
It was Treasure Mountain?
yeah, it was Treasure Mountain where so it's a regular 6-sided die, but the 1 is replaced with a 2 and the 6 is replaced with a 5.
Okay.
No, excuse me, the 1 is replaced with a 3 and the 6 is replaced with a 4. So it gives you much more of like a bell curve.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
In terms of probability, and we really enjoyed that because it's it's more of a stable thing. You don't have to rely so much on luck.
Right, right.
So these
Oh, no, it was Raiders of the North Sea.
Yeah, right as the North Sea.
Long game.
So seeing innovation
Yeah.
in dice
Yeah.
is really fascinating because, as you mentioned, they were probably just invented
Yeah.
by gamblers who needed a
Not
chance
to
element.
cut
so-
a block of wood and 1 through 6. After I came up with this, and actually, I haven't told this to many people. I don't want to disappoint, but I was actually setting out to create an RPG game.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make it based on my daughter's interests.
Sure.
Because I was always trying to adapt RPG play, but I was like, I'm gonna start something from scratch. I know some artists for my daughter. I still have that project.
Maybe it'll come to fruition. That'd be pretty great.
So I figured I want to teach math. I got to figure out the dice engine for my RPG game. That's
Right.
kind of how I came up with this.
Yeah.
But then people started telling me, wait, no, just do that. You know, like do that like simple, and then do your RPG thing like later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I am with that. But after I thought about it, I did start thinking about the history. Thousands of years. They just found some dice in England that had like double 5s on them, and they were like, they're cheat. It was like a cheater's dice. That was kind of cool. But and you go to a craps table at a casino, they know those combinations like flash, right? This is the same concept. It's just shift the curve up, and you just wonder why anyone hasn't done it, because
Exactly.
it's not. But you're literally thinking within the cube, So.
And I mean,
it's hard
this
to
is
break.
also teaching multiple different concepts, which is awesome. It's got the multiplication, the addition, but
Right.
also it's teaching our electoral college.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah.
Like, you
Which-
got to get this many.
It turns out too, like if you've ever heard, and I've heard this, 'cause I got a 9 and a 6-year-old, and I've heard this many times, even in public. How does you lose an election if you get more votes, or how does this work? Like, well, it's the Electoral College, and then it's like,
everything just glazed
so
over.
right, like basically representative democracy. But
Yeah.
when you put it in a game, it's like, oh, the Electoral College, right? You tally up, each has a value. You don't explain it, you play it, and then you know it for life. Now, I actually, I won't drop her name, but I played this with, or I showed this to a person who had managed the presidential campaign, and the first thing she said to me, she's like, "Well, how do you proportion like Maine's votes? Like Maine has 3 electoral votes. Like I'm not going to do 1 and 3. There is some abstraction in there.
Right, sure, but you got it.
So it's not pure, but like the concept of representative democracy is also like present in congressional, representation. Not obviously the Senate, but that whole concept is probably important to civics. The election results that come out in this game would never happen in real life, obviously.
Sure.
But it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a great sort of abstract way to begin teaching these concepts. Certainly, like those more advanced concepts, like civics, like proportionality, and also to really drive home the elemental concepts, the fundamental stuff of probability and addition and multiplication.
That's right. Yeah.
And stuff. So I think it sort of charts that water very, very well.
Yeah, and when we would play this out, then you can already start seeing that we're starting to fill up. But if we played this all the way out, the big chunks when California and Texas start coming, you get close to the White House. This game is not, if I play with my 3rd grader, we do addition in probably 30, 35 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
We play the multiplication now that she's good, like her 3rd or 4th time. We do it in 45, 50 minutes. So, we would take up the rest of the time if we played this out. But that's good for the age group.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just playing Spy Alley with her, like, that's crosses of elimination. That was, that's 50-minute game.
Yeah.
But they can handle that.
Yeah.
But you can pause it too. So this is an easy pause game. It's not like a lot of other games. It could get messed up, or it's just not as good. So but I could talk about some of our other stuff. This is going to be live for another couple of weeks. We'd appreciate any support we could get. We're going to have some other stretch goals and stuff that we're going to get on there. I think, I was on another podcast earlier in the week, and he asked me, like, well, what's the difference between, there's such a crowded space right now, and I hadn't really thought of his question in advance, but I think I came up with the best answer I've given so far. It's like, what's the difference between this and any other game that you would get for your kids? I'm like, this game can have an impact on your life. It can actually increase your SAT scores by, because trust me, I correct a lot of SATs in my spare time, and I see 10, 20, 30 points all the time on a simple math area. And they know what those answers are. And there's a non-calculator section to it as well.
Yep.
And this game teaches 3 things that we should know.
Yeah.
Three things that a lot of adults don't know.
Yeah.
Fluency with their math facts, addition and multiplication.
Yeah.
Geography of the U.S. and the Electoral College.
Yeah.
And you can take care of that by 3rd grade with this game.
Yeah. No,
and actually have a fun time. So.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot going for it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got very distracted. There's a person in a shark costume outside.
And the feet are coming out of the head. It's really good. It's good, yeah. Anyone come down here if you're in the local area. There's a lot of good stuff
they're doing
going
that
on.
full-size game of Get Bit. So.
But
yeah, so this is obviously, you mentioned sort of your flagship thing. We talked a little bit about the RPG conversion tables.
Yep.
I see this other thing, Battle of the Boolean Bots.
Yeah. So I've got.
Talk to me about this.
So on our first campaign, we actually threw in some play sheets that basically we had some education play sheets, what we called, and those were like rolling to try to like learn the planets or save endangered animals on a map.
Okay.
I think I have those in back. You can see samples of those on our webpage.
Yep.
Save the baby animals. It's an edition game. It has endangered species located around the globe. So you're associating number combinations with physical, spatial stuff, but also learning memory aids that are also good to know, like world geography, flora, fauna distributions. We got all of that. So, but as an RPGer, I was like, wouldn't it be good if you had like these sheets that you could kind of play in succession?
Sure.
And learn
like a
word
right?
addition and multiplication, because the way math is taught in our schools, and I think the problems that I see in high schoolers, like when I do my tutor. I mean, I'm a strategist by day, but a tutor by night. But I see that math is just not learned. It's got to be practiced, right? So, I mean, adults that come to this, they probably knew their multiplication tables at one time, but then they get foggy on them, right?
It atrophies.
Yeah, that's right. So it's good to have gameplay that you can play it throughout. So I created these like play sheets that
Incoming shark.
Oh God. That was what was distracting me earlier.
So wanted to fit like all the rules for the different sheets on a page, so that they could basically have these play sheets. And the concept is that like an RPG, you kind of power up, and then on this one, which is this one we're developing, and we'll probably have a campaign on this at some point, but we're going to put some content in between these, kind of make it like an RPG experience that you could play cooperatively or with other kids. So like right here, you have a different number of rolls that you're going to have to start using the dice differently, and the directions tell you, what you do. Like, but here I can tell you, like for the adventure, this is Abachi's Quest, and there's a lot more content. We're thinking on having a contest for people to write content about these.
There you go.
That would like get creative kind of stuff too, and get young kids. Like, but you heard it here first. But I'm not going to really talk more about that because that's just a teaser. But if you could get your kid like telling a story in between these sheets. I have a story in my mind that I'm telling, like a base story that I haven't really exposed yet, but I don't want kids to be limited. Right. So it's kind of like fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And so this would be like, I named these characters: Tristan Hightower, Falcona Danish, Boldegar Broadback, Ariel Nightingale. We got our party of 4. Classic, basic, elf, human, dwarf, wizard. So, we would roll these products. We have these products that are associated with magic items.
Okay.
So he's got the beguiling blade, the absorb. I try to put vocabulary in here.
Okay.
Palliating ring, bow of honing, amulet of deflection, blunted bludgeoner, concussive ball, hologram hat. And it is cool. But You want to get the invulnerability helmet or helm. You know, you want to roll. You got to roll a 48. So you get copper rolls, silver rolls, gold rolls, platinum rolls. You know, and you know there's a red and blue key. So you get 12 rolls to power up originally, and then you can power up, and then you basically get to use 42 because I'm using my copper rolls now.
Yeah.
I get the amulet of deflection. She can get up to 3 of those, and then it tells you in the rules what these do, and you can use them one time. You can erase when you use it in a battle, or and then I'd roll that 3 times. 4 times 8, 32. That's the blunted bludgeoner, Boldigar broadback, and then you go. So you go through your roll. So then you start, and then you use this sheet through the campaign. That's the idea, and then we have our first battle. I can tell you what happens from between that and this battle in my campaign mind, but I haven't really done that for the bubble yet. So they got their heart lives, and they hit on different sums.
Sure.
And the Hydra has different rules. Like the Hydra here, the Hydra is, has 5 heads. They regenerate if you get doubles. You gotta put the head down so it doesn't, regenerate back. So you're learning. Yeah, and then they got life points. They got 2 hit numbers in green, and then they have a get hit number.
Sure.
And I did they have different characteristics. Like the fighters, the tanks have more, life, but they, might do less damage. The wizard's damage is more variable. She's got the concussive, fireball there. She can do more damage, and they've got like these notes down here. So it's all, RPG.
Yeah, no, I mean that's great. Like this is just some straight up, old school Final Fantasy.
Right.
Grinding through the enemies. Got your stats. Got your abilities.
That's right. That's right.
Really great.
And then you expend your abilities, and then after each campaign, you would get like 5 more platinum rolls.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you do it, and then you re-up. And then I got this kind of pirate battle where the skeleton and pirates, they're basically trying to get on that. There's a whole story involved here, but I don't want to get into that. But anyway, then the skeleton pirates are running after them. So you're rolling odd and even numbers here. When the skeletons roll 13s, they advance across the deck and up the ladder. You got to get up the ladder while these guys protect the the Rattlins from the ghost captain there, and you got to put some damage on him, but you can only do it with ranged weapons. So it's just different rules and different strategies. And then we got to cross the chasm thing when they get to another store. This is like getting your whole party over here. It's kind of hard to get them all over, but if you do within your 12 rolls, you get more power-ups for the final battle, and they all have the final boss battle.
Sure.
Is the battle of the Lich Lord. He's got
a lot of health. That's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of
So
health.
that it gets them I've had people at our events, they're just sitting there like it's their job, They're they're doing math, go, oh, I got another skull, and they're rolling. Every one of those represents a flashcard. That So
Well, and it also sort of reminds me of when I was growing up, there was sort of there was this wave of educational software, right? So you had Math Blaster and all these sorts of things that would teach you these concepts, and this reminds me a lot of an analog version of that. Which is so fascinating to see how you've got this same, the same drive, the same goal, but just taken into the
One thing that I will
renaissance.
say that I think I was thinking the exact same thing, but I think that I like this kind of setup more, just because of the fact that there is such a timing aspect in those games, the whole because you have to do it all in a really quick succession and all that kind of stuff. It's extremely stressful. Whereas here, you change the timing aspect to more of a strategic aspect because you're thinking about the overall.
Right.
You're just you've taken it from, for example, for election night. It's you learn the multiplication tables and all that, and it might take you a little while at first, but then you start getting better and better at it. But what you're doing is you're not just saying what is this answer, which is what a lot of those games would do.
It's true.
You're saying, I want this answer because of this. And it's just you will get different positive effects based on the answers that you get. And I really I think that almost like the Math Blaster and all those games still kept the focus on this is a math game.
Yeah.
Whereas this takes the focus off of that and says this is a game, but it includes math.
Right. I think that was the intent, and I'm glad you say that because that was my intent. I wanted to make the math indelible, but I didn't want it to take over the game because the first thing when you say like a math game, because
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But originally, as the urban legend goes, like the polyhedral dice were tried to be marketed by math teachers, and it was like Gygax and the RPGers that picked it up.
Right.
They're like, oh, this is awesome probability. Like, you can do a lot with this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of back and forth with stuff. So
Surely this is not related to election.
no.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, but the idea is to create, and I said this in my first dice campaign, is to create a ecosystem of games, and to even let other people come in and create games. I've already got if people want to do stuff with these dice and the dice system. Like I want to get more content out there. That's I know there's a lot of game system stuff out there, but I mean, this was really a dice engine that I wanted to develop that was just a little bit more thoughtful towards teaching, making a little bit more heft to the educational value.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it does become, there's nothing like, you wouldn't ever have to tell a football player what 7 + 3 is. They know a touchdown and a field goal is 10.
Yeah.
I was talking to a teacher at a conference one time, and she said, the whole idea of Common Core, this is interesting, she said, is that we know we want to observe how kids learn. So, for instance, we know because of the symmetry of the mind or whatever, kids learn their doubles. They learn 6 + 6. They learn 7 + 7. That's why I penalize doubles in the game. So, because the kids already know them, they're not. They're trying not to get them. Like in my base games in here, Double Done 151 is a game like you stop, you push your luck until you get a double, and then you go to 0, or if you froze at a number. So there's some good base games in that. But as soon as she said that. She said, so when they're thinking about 8 + 7, they really should think it's really 7 + 7 because they know 14. So that's one more, it'd be 15. And then the light bulb went in my mind. I said, no, 8 + 7 is 15 for 2 because I played cribbage as a kid. and then the light bulb went on, and I'm like, cribbage is a pretty good game. When you think about, I think someone who developed cribbage, but then I was like, cribbage does some good stuff, but you could get better. There's tallying in it.
When you can update.
But you can update. So that was really my process where I thought about it. And then I think what you saw here too was the sci-fi stuff. So you gotta have a sci-fi stuff. I got some more. I have daughters. I got some more stuff that they're more interested. But I got some strong female characters in this.
Sure.
I got Ursa Uppercut and Tico Trick Shot and Stella Star Chase and Zap. So these are the characters for and they have, so unlike the RPG thing, which is the players are all in, each of these kind of like your classic Star Wars kind of thing. They each have their individual mission that they've got to, So in here, she's got the Bully Bot Beatdown, she's got a laser whip and a gamma glove. You do tallying to power up in this game, and the average numbers you're going to roll is not going to allow you to get probably all of them powered up. But when you get familiar with the games, you decide who you want to power up. And they've got an asteroid race. We've got this is a really good way to learn the times tables. The Biterbot Blast.
Galaga style.
It's Galaga, and you've got shields that get eaten through. These are good for individual play. A series of 5 of these. It's not like doing math homework, and it's great.
For sure.
So look for those maybe later this year.
Great.
We're gonna get election night done. We're probably gonna have a lot of more promotions and contests. We might even have some game creating contests for kids, because I think that next level of education that's really powerful for kids is getting them to create stuff.
Yes.
Right, and you give them some basic stuff to create with, and that's just that goes hyperbolic, right? With the educational value, it's what their generation is really going to have to get used to doing to solve some pretty complex problems, right? Yeah. So I mean and I think the other point you were making earlier about those kind of video games. I know a lot of parents of young kids now, they're looking for any chance. I think this is why, related to the Renaissance in board games, because they're looking for more tactile stuff.
Yeah.
There's enough screen stuff out there, right?
Yeah.
Our kids are going to spend enough of their life around the screen, so there's something inherently more collaborative, more tactile, and more engaging with these types of things. So I think the content, we can't have enough of this content.
No, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, excuse me. So, so.
Well, there you go. Jim Moran, Play Smart Dice, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Yeah, great.
Pleasure
great.
having you on the podcast.
All right, thanks a
And
lot.
thanks for being here at International Tabletop Day.
Great. I'll look forward to checking in with you guys maybe again when I get into some of this stuff. I know you got a lot of art that you guys
absolutely.
interest. So, and follow us on Kickstarter. We're going to have some stretch goals. We're going to get funded. I'm pretty confident. And we're going to, the game's going to look a little different. We've got some late beta testing, design stuff, but the 95% thing is there. So,
All right.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thanks
Of
a lot,
course.
guys.
Thanks for being here.
All right, thank you for being here. We are going to be right
We'll be
back.
back in just a little bit.
See you in a moment.